The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Wicked Weed studio. I'm Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene alongside. It is a Wednesday morning, and we are, of course, here in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Don't forget to check them out. Make your order today online or visit any of their 4 Asheville locations. wickedweedbrewing.com. Wicked Weed Brewing, drink different. We had the All-Star game last night. Saw exactly 0 pitches of the All-Star game. The highlights were fine.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. did a thing.
400.
Hey, that's a guy who I know who he is. you know what would be great for baseball? If more players that we knew who the fuck they were would have children that were really good at baseball. Because I think every player I know in Major League Baseball, their name is Player I Know Jr.
Yeah.
And Bo Bichette, who his dad had such an identifiable last name that you couldn't possibly not know that was his kid.
Kevin Biggio.
You
don't know him?
Nope.
He plays for Toronto as well.
Toronto just has this, let's just draft everybody's kid.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Nobody cares about us anyway.
Yeah. Dad was good.
Yeah.
Why not?
Bet you're good too.
Well, we are highly anticipating the arrival of Shohei Ohtani Jr. in the in Major League Baseball. Last night, the American League won for the 8th time in a row in the All-Star game. 5-2 the final score. 468-foot home run by Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who, I just wish you'd have been in the home run derby.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to know how infuriating doing shit like we do is, did you notice what trended on Twitter last night?
No.
The trend on Twitter was exactly what I said on our ESPN radio show.
Okay.
Those fucking uniforms are awful. They're terrible.
Yes.
Just all you had to do was not screw it up. You did it right, and now you do it wrong again.
Yep. Yeah, the uniforms were bad. The baseball was good. Unfortunately, baseball didn't get what they wanted, and Shohei Ohtani did not lead off the game with a home run. But, the Midsummer Classic is over, so you know what that means. We're that much closer to football season.
Oh, so close.
Just a couple of weeks. Just a couple of weeks left until the NFL season. We will do the NFC West.
Yep.
Best case, worst case scenarios.
It's only on the screen in big letters.
It's not on the screen at all.
It's on your. Oh, it was on your screen. Now you're looking at what the hell is that?
Oh, this was the playoff bracket from last year. I still had it open on the computer as I was trying to figure out what was next in our best case, worst case scenario videos here. So NFC West is today. We'll talk about the futures of that. We got Game 3 of the NBA, or Game 4, of the NBA Finals tonight. You are still on Milwaukee's going to tie this series up?
They're going to win the series. They're not just going to tie it. They're going to win it.
No.
They're going to win it.
No, not going to happen. Devin Booker's going to bring the A game tonight, and I think they will have a 3-1 lead going back home, just so they can stick to my 5-game schedule.
No.
Giannis Antetokounmpo averaging 40 and 10 against the Phoenix Suns this year.
He's pretty good.
He's
pretty good at basketball.
They have no answer for Giannis, and
still can't shoot a damn free throw to save his life. But
no, but they did find something in Game 3. Continue to pound the ball inside, and guess what? They can't stop you. And yeah, they're going to foul Giannis over and over and over again. I don't know if he can hit his free throws at the same kind of rate consistently as he did in the last game.
Doesn't have to. You blow him out in the last game.
Yeah, but
keep swimming.
But that was without Devin Booker scoring his normal.
Just keep swimming. Just keep. Oh shit!
Wow, winning.
I hate that damn lever that turns down the sound.
Yeah, you got a monkey knife fight play in the night?
I do.
Let's go ahead and give that out. Monkey knife fight.
Already?
Yeah, why not? Or do you want to do it at the end of the program after we do all the football?
It's fine.
Okay.
Do it now.
MonkeyKnifeFight.com. Use the promo code TANK, T-A-N-K. Set yourself up an account today, and they will match your initial investment up to $100, and they'll also give you a $5 free play, and that free play you can use on tonight's matchup.
I am playing the more or less 3x multiplier. I will go under 34.5 points for Giannis Antetokounmpo and over 27.5 for Devin Booker. I think this is a Devin Booker, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton night because I think they're going to do everything in their power to stop Giannis. And they're not going to stop him. I literally, if this was 1 point lower, because my projection has him scoring 34 freaking points. So it's not like, I think Giannis is going to get shut down. No, he's not. But to think he's going to keep scoring 40 is a little aggressive.
Well, I mean, that's his average against Phoenix.
They've only played like what?
Four times.
4 times.
4 times this year.
Yeah.
Phoenix leads or swept the season series 2-0, and now they're up 2-1. Oh, that is 5 times. Wow. Math is fun. No, he averaged 40 points against them in the regular season, and he hasn't, the first game when he scored under 30 points when he was still hampered by the leg, that was the only time that he has scored less than 40. So I'm gonna err on the side of he's probably gonna get over that 34.5. But
I'm gonna go
his own.
I'm gonna go under.
Each his own.
And by the way,
you're better at this gambling thing than I am.
Just because he just said that, now I'm going to bet my house on it. So
the Tank Spencer kiss of death.
By the way, everybody join the DraftKings Open Championship DFS champion or challenge from the Sportsocracy.
Yep.
It's in the description of this video on YouTube. I like my lineup a lot.
And of course, everything gets started at Royal St. George
at
tomorrow.
1:04 tomorrow morning.
Right.
You will wake up and probably know what half of your team has done. Which is the great part of the Open.
So Jeremy's going to do a special Bet Your House segment coming up later on today here on the YouTube channel. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Subscribe especially. You know, when all of our new content comes out, all of our team-by-team best worst-case scenarios are coming out on the channel.
We're going to do it. We're going to try to do this one on the InstaFace too.
Oh, okay.
I don't know jack squat about Instagram. If somebody would like to come be our Instagram person, I will love you forever because I hate that platform with the fire of 1,000 suns.
I've honestly never used it.
I have like 500 followers or something like that on Instagram.
Yeah.
You want to take a stab at how many posts I've ever made?
2.
This is in 6 years? 5 years? Mm-hmm. It's 4. 4.
I do have an Instagram account. I think it's Sports Tank ESPN, just like my Twitter account. But
I don't know.
I think I've only posted.
Greene ESPN.
Right. I think I've only posted on it once.
I think the only thing that doesn't fall into my little narrative of I'm at Jay Greene ESPN on everything is Snapchat, which I only remember I have when I get notifications that people have sent me something. And I'm like, you might as well send that shit in a fucking bottle in the ocean. I ain't never gonna see that ish.
You don't check your messages from Snapchat?
Because I don't care. It's random people that I've probably met in a bar at some point. They're like, hey, look, it's a picture of me brushing my teeth. Woohoo! Don't give a fuck.
I hate it as well. The Open Championship. John Rahm, he's the favorite. And
not on my team.
He shouldn't be. I don't think he should.
No, he should. But did you hear the story about John Rahm yesterday?
No.
He was born with a club foot.
Really?
I did not know. That's why his backswing is so short, because he can't rear back and crush one like the rest of us do. They had to break his leg like 4 times when he was a kid to reset it because his foot was turned in.
Jesus.
And so now he has limited mobility in that ankle and he can't swing like that.
Interesting.
I will tell you my first piece of free advice that you don't have to find on the InstaFace or the Snap Hizzle or whatever the fuck it is. I don't have John Rahm. Mm-hmm. I don't have anyone that's over $10,000 on the DraftKings.
Well,
and if you do, I think you're doing it wrong.
Well, I mean, John Rahm obviously winning the U.S. Open. It's very, very rare that the winner of the U.S. Open goes on to win the British Open. Or the Open? Do they even refer to it as the British Open anymore?
No. It's actually the number one way I know people don't know jack shit about golf when they call it the British Open.
Yeah.
Nope, we went over this. There was a meeting.
There was.
We talked. You're not allowed to do that shit anymore.
All right, so the Open Championship, it's only been 20 years since Tiger Woods won the U.S. Open and then won the Open Championship. Mm-hmm. It's the only time it's happened in the last 30 years. I think Ben Hogan's the only other one that's done it, and that was eons ago.
Yeah, here's your free thanks for watching our morning show DFS advice. The most expensive player on my team? Mm-hmm. What's my favorite name in golf to say?
Xander
Schauffele. Xander Schauffele. I have the most balanced lineup in the history of time. I don't think I have anybody under 7,000. I don't have anybody over like 9.3.
Okay.
It is the definition of balanced.
Very good. All those picks will be coming your way coming up later on today here in the Sportsocracy. Again, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you know every time our new content comes out.
Michael Whiteside said his day is made because I said Xander Schauffele. Somebody needs to at some point we need to do like a mashup of all the times I've said Xander Schauffele.
I mean, you want to
just send it to it.
You want to do the legwork on that and pull all those times. You're more than welcome to.
Yeah, well, we don't
talk about a lot of video to sift through.
100%. We don't talk about a lot of golf. Good thing is I say it like 9 times every time I say it. So
very true. Very true.
Throw in a couple different shirts.
Just find 3 episodes and interchange them. Just mix them back and forth.
Yes. So just a little catch up.
Okay.
Jason Trump said I need to have my pinky extended every time I say Xander Schauffele. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little cup of tea, cappuccino of some kind. Somebody, I believe it was G Baby, asked in the comment when the first best ball draft for the show, the Manscaped draft. The goal is to do it this weekend. I apologize that it's so hard to schedule these things. We are down to 2 people. Mm-hmm. So everything, and I don't know if you saw this on the Book of Face and all of the things. We're working on a new project with the Asheville Police Department, where we're going to have these guys on the show. They'll be in here, and it's just going to be what do we call that? More than a badge. More than a badge. Yeah, that these guys are, they're real people and they're awesome, and you should be nice to them. So we're going to do a series of these things. We're super excited about it. I know who the first few are. A couple of the first ones are guys that I actually know. Mm-hmm. A couple of them that I forgot work for the police department. But they'll be in with us, just talking about their favorite teams. And just if you listen to our ESPN show, it's a lot like Chief David Zach. He comes in and picks games against me. Right. And we're going to do a thing with this, and we're super excited about it. If any of these that we put out, any of those that you want to share, it means I cannot express enough how much it means to share things. We live in a weird world that if it's not on social media, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we do the things that we do. And this is one of those projects that, my best friend in the world is a cop. So, if you don't like that we support cops, this is probably not the show for you, because we do, and we do it aggressively. No, it's definitely not. I was always raised to respect the members of law enforcement, and that has only grown in my adult life as, I have watched the world burn around me and still feel like, you know what? There are good cops out there. And, they all catch hell. And for us, this was easy. Anything that we can do to help bridge that gap between the community and the law enforcement organizations of our country, I am all for. So, it doesn't. One of the amazing things about doing this show is how many cool people that you meet. Mm-hmm. And Chief David Zach has become one of my favorite people on earth. We came up with this idea sitting around the social in East Asheville, actually, just drinking beers. What can we do? Because that was what I asked, because I'm not going to lie, I'm very creative, but I'm not very smart. So a lot of times I go, hey, I want to help, and I don't in any way know how. So we thought about fundraisers, we thought about all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And actually, I'm going to announce this on this show. We won't be able to do this until Friday on the ESPN radio show. So the Scott Fish Bowl and Matt Miller. I know you know who Matt Miller is because I talk about him all the time. He's not a rival, but we do the same thing. He's at NFL Draft Scout, I believe is his Twitter handle. Mm-hmm. They're doing a charity thing with fantasy drafts for teachers and school supplies. That was actually how the More Than a Badge thing started, is we were going to do that for cops. Well, then we went down this rabbit hole and wound up where we are now. Mm-hmm. So now we're looking for a charity. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do fantasy drafts for a charity. It is really hard to vet charities. I have one in mind, but I'm open to suggestions. So if anybody has one that if you have one that you like, if you have one that we should vet, it's, like I said, very hard to vet them. So if you know them, that will help because we trust you guys immensely. The people that watch this show every day, I talk to you guys more than I talk to the vast majority of people in my life.
Right.
I answer more messages on Twitter and Facebook than I answer text messages, and it's not even close. Mm-hmm. I've had multiple people ask for my phone number. I'm like, just message me on Facebook. It's so much more likely that I'm going to respond.
But looking for charities going down that line of first responders, police, fire, all of that kind of stuff. We want to keep it in that realm. You know, the people that keep our community safe, keep us alive. You know, those are the people. Those are the unsung heroes of our community, and those are the ones that we want to champion.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I always feel like I can be super honest on this show, mm-hmm. and it's not that I'm not honest on the ESPN show. It's just, you know, across terrestrial radio waves, you can't be as
right.
transparent.
Here you can let your freak flag fly.
Well, I have one of those, and it's right behind my chair. It's like that buggy at Walmart that has the little flag on it. That's mine.
Right.
It sits behind me.
Right.
You know, we do this. There are a lot of people that do what we do. We have, you know, we're very lucky that we have Corey Short that mm-hmm. has all of these wonderful toys that he lets us use and make everything look good. And you know, he works his ass off. I mainly just tell jokes and, you know, make smart-ass comments about my wiener. But,
stop being humble.
Humble.
You're never humble in any other aspect of your life.
Humble's not something that I have ever been accused of being. Uh-huh. But, sorry, I keep getting distracted by the comments as I'm trying to be, you know, open and honest about things. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we have the ESPN platform. That's where a lot of people that do podcasts, they don't have that. You know, we're lucky. That's all I can really say. So it allows us to do things in the community and things like that. I've seen St. Jude a few times. You're very much on the same path that I am. That's where we were headed with that. But the goal of that is going to be that we're going to do fantasy leagues. We're going to set people up with people that they don't know. We'll do content on it. We're doing fantasy drafts at the Social in East Asheville. If you want to bring us in to do your drafts, we'll do them, and we'll bring a camera and make it fun. And all of those things are going to go to a charity of yet to be chosen funds.
Right.
So we love doing stuff like that. It's just we are cut so thin the vast majority of the time that we don't have as much time to do it. But football season's the one time that we know we have a lot of eyeballs. So,
right. Are we going to...
that was my PSA for the day.
You mentioned the Scott Fish Bowl thing, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm in one of the satellite leagues for the Scott Fish Bowl. I'm in the Dolly Parton region, repping my cuz. And are we gonna do slow drafts? We're gonna do slow drafts for these, because this is driving me friggin' insane. This draft started last Sunday, and we are right now in the 13th round. The 13th of 22 rounds. And it's been a week and a half. I am at my wit's end with this thing. Slow drafts, I don't think I'll ever do one again. I mean, unless I win this satellite league and then I get an automatic bid into the year-long league, because the Scott Fish Bowl satellites are all best ball. So unless I get a bid into next year's, I don't know that I'll do this again.
Yeah.
Because it's maddening.
Well, here's the thing. If you don't do it now, we split this off. So you did the Scott Fish Bowl. I did the next big fantasy thing.
Yep.
Which I'm really hoping there's a decision on this week, because the what's the word I'm looking for? The
The anticipation.
Anticipate, that's the word. Yeah. That's the one.
The anticipation.
It is infuriating.
It's
absolutely
making me wait. Keeping me waiting.
They did post something on Twitter that I think might have been a Kevin Vick Memorial Bell at me.
Oh, nice.
I saw it and I went, somebody would have had to have done almost the exact same thing I did, which I find to be very unlikely.
Yeah.
So that gave me a little bit of hope, but hopefully we'll know later this week.
Hey, the video I'm sure made a splash with the decision makers, and we're all rooting for you, buddy. We really are. Let's get into the best worst case scenarios for the NFC West. 2021 football season is right around the corner. And the team at the top of the NFC West, I think you're kind of crazy if you choose anybody but the Los Angeles Rams. To me, the Rams are the one team. They went out and made the move to get Matt Stafford in, and this is Matt Stafford's chance to prove that he can be a winner in this league. It's the one thing that has always hampered his entire career. I mean, I've followed the guy since he played for my Georgia Bulldogs, and the one thing he gets knocked on is that, he's a good quarterback, but he's just not a winner. Well, he's been in Detroit for his entire career. There's not a whole lot of winning going on in Detroit unless you haven't noticed. Now he gets to be on a team that's got one of the best defenses in the NFL. He's got some decent weapons to work with. And this team's got a lot of young pieces as well that I really like. So, best case scenario for the LA Rams, they're the hosts with the most. The Super Bowl this year is going to be in LA, in their home stadium. Tampa Bay Buccaneers did it last year, hosting the Super Bowl and winning it. Everybody's got that expectation for the LA Rams this year.
I don't see how anybody could look at the Rams and not be excited about what this team is. I mean, what is your slight? If you don't like them, what is it? The line? Because the line's not great.
But it's decent.
It's fine. I mean, it's nothing to write home about, but I still feel pretty good about it.
I mean, the fact that you are starting a damn near octogenarian on your offensive line is kind of weird.
I thought those lived in the ocean.
No, that's an octopus.
Oh.
Octogenarian is like 80 years old.
Oh.
Yeah. And Andrew Whitworth turns 40 this year, I think.
He's 39, yeah.
To me, that's the only real knock you have. I mean, there is one move that I would make to improve this team, and we'll get into that in a second, and it is on the offensive line. So maybe that's the bugaboo for a lot of people with this team. And then there's also the defense. You know, they lost a couple of pieces last year. So if you're hinging on John Johnson and Troy Hill being gone, that's the reason that you're down on this team. I mean, I get it. John Johnson's he's a man. Mm-hmm. I love that guy, and that's one of the reasons I'm so high on Cleveland this year.
But I'm not that worried about it.
I'm not either.
I look at the safeties on this team, and I'm fine with it. Mm-hmm. I just think you've got Darius Williams, you've got Jalen Ramsey. Mm-hmm. I don't worry about the safeties that much, and I like Taylor Rapp a lot. I like the defense. Sebastian Joseph Day might be the most underrated player in the NFL. If he's not, he's in the top 5.
Right.
I just really think this team's going to be able to get after the quarterback. I think this team is really good and really balanced, and they're going to score 1 billion points. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to understand, Tutu Atwell's probably their 5. That's a guy I loved coming into the draft.
Yep.
And still love.
Behind Van Jefferson.
By the way, the guy, Jacob Harris. I swear to God, I'm gonna have T-shirts made of Jacob Harris's face with a heart, and me and him holding hands because we're best friends.
Right.
That is the dude that I am going to just keep banging the drum for because he's Darren Waller too.
So you think he'll supplant Tyler Higbee?
I think I think he'll run in the Gerald Everett role this year.
Okay.
But I think long term he's going to be. I'll be honest with you. If you told me halfway through the season he became the starting tight end of the LA Rams, I wouldn't be shocked.
Okay.
He's that good.
Yeah.
He ran as a wide receiver at Central Florida, but he's very much that move tight end, that Darren Waller just matchup nightmare. He's 6'5", he's really fast. And I just look at that kind of piece with Sean McVay. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. I think a lot of their success will hinge this year on Cam Akers having a fantastic sophomore season, which I fully expect to happen. I know you're in the Cam Akers camp being a Florida State fan, Jeremy, but I mean, this kid, he's got some real talent. And he kind of came on the scene late in the year last year, finally started working his way and more into the lineup. They kind of, finally decided, yeah, let's stop it with this whole Darrell Henderson thing and focused on Cam running the ball.
Darrell Henderson still has a role, though. And I like Darrell Henderson. I just don't like him as the feature back. I love Cam Akers. If there was one player that I'd screamed from the rooftops more about last year than Chase Claypool,
it was Cam Akers.
It was Cam Akers.
Right.
By the way, the 2020 draft is serving to be one of those that I just look back on and go, why do you even doubt a motherfucker? Why do you even doubt a motherfucker?
All except for that Justin Jefferson thing. That's the
and
one
yet
thing.
again, I have to keep saying, I didn't say that he sucked at life.
No.
I said that there were some receivers that I liked better. Chase Claypool and Michael Pittman specifically. I still say he was a second-round pick.
Right.
I didn't say he shouldn't be in the league.
Right.
I didn't quite realize he was going to be as good as he was.
It was a fluctuating year for you because Antonio Gibson was the other one. Those were your two big downfalls last year.
Yeah, and a lot of people
calling
missed on Antonio Gibson. And let's be really, can we be really honest about Antonio Gibson?
Yeah.
I think we might be a little too high on Antonio Gibson at this point.
Could very well be.
He was good.
He's one of the most versatile backs in the league, in my opinion.
And he also had 800 yards last year. So, I mean, you guys just calm down. He had several really big games. I really like the guy. I'm not trying to undersell him.
Right.
I'm just saying, what I said was I didn't put him in my shade on Antonio Gibson was talking about for fantasy, and you were putting him with the Cam Akers and all these other young guys, and I just said I don't think he's that high.
Right.
I don't think he's that high this year either because he's going in the same range again.
Right. But let's get back to the LA Rams here. Cam Akers having a great sophomore season is going to be a big help to them having a great year. Are you concerned at all about Matthew Stafford in a new system, not having rapport with these wide receivers? I mean, he's got two of the best.
He's a 33-year-old veteran
security
quarterback
blanket
that's basically worked with the shittiest set of receivers that you'll ever have. He made Marvin Jones look like a legitimate NFL receiver.
Right.
I know there's a Lions fan that watches the show, and I just am curious to see what their comment to that is. I'm all in on Matthew Stafford. Now, I'm not worried about the synergy with the receivers.
Okay.
There is something I am worried about, though. It's the worst-case scenario for the Rams, and it's everybody hurts sometimes. This team's not real deep, and that's what scares me. If they had even just a small rash of injuries, just look at the second team. Go down the depth chart and look at the backup quarterback is John Wolford. Behind Darrell Henderson, it gets thin in a hurry at running back. Receiver's the one place you're deep. And it does make me a little nervous. But this is what happens when you trade first-round picks and you have to stay healthy. Yep. That's the one thing that can fuck the Rams.
And also when you have so many superstars on your defensive side of the ball that you have to pour so much money into them. I mean, I think, I don't know the stat on it, but I would imagine that they pay probably the most for their defense than anybody else in the league.
It's a lot. I mean, they have two of the five highest paid defensive players in the NFL, or two of the 8, or something like that. The team's not real deep. That's the one thing that can hang them up. If this team stays healthy throughout the year, they're going to win 13 games. I can't tell you they're going to win the division. I think they will, but I'm not, dead in the wool on it. Here's the thing. Jonathan Welch said this in the comments earlier. This is the only division in the NFL that you have 4 playoff contenders in one division. Every other division has a poo. All of them. This one doesn't.
Right.
The turd in this division is the Seattle Seahawks, and that's still an 8 or 9 win team.
Right. And very well could be a double-digit win team because that's what they've been over the last 5
And I'll
years.
give Chuck G has a perfect comment here. Just remember, this is the first year of a 17-game schedule. I won't be shocked if that is kind of an Achilles heel. Extra game, this division's going to be competitive. I don't think anybody's walking away with this division. Hey, let me ask you a question. If you had to project how many games would be separating the first place team in this division and the last place team in this division at the end of the year, how many is it?
1. Oh, the last place division. I'm sorry.
I was about to be like, God almighty, what do you think? They all go 11-6?
I'm sorry. I misheard. Between the last place, 3, 4. 3 or 4 wins, maybe.
4. I have the Rams winning the division at 13-4. I have the Seahawks at 9-8, and they're last in the division. And the 49ers, and I want to say the 49ers and the Cardinals tied at 12-5.
Right.
It's the best division in football. It's not close.
Yeah.
That could be your biggest downfall, is that you play in a division where you don't get a layup week. You don't get a Jets. You don't get a Jaguars or a Titans or a Texans or a Bengals or a Broncos, Eagles. Yeah, you don't have one of those. There's not one of those in the division.
Yeah.
So you look at the schedule and just go, good Jesus, it is a murderer's row going down the schedule. That's one thing that I think people should be very cautious of. This may be the best. This is the best division in football. They don't have the best record in football.
No. I believe that their chances to win a Super Bowl are greater than their chances to win the division. And that may sound stupid.
It does. Yeah, it sounds insane.
No. Because of the schedule, because of the tougher schedule, I could very well see San Francisco winning the division with a better record.
Oh, I'm going to go out on a limb.
But I think the LA Rams are the better overall team.
Oh, I'll go out on a limb. If the Rams don't win this division, they're not winning the Super Bowl. There is no team in the NFL that needs to be the 1 seed in their conference more than the LA Rams do.
Because of the depth issue?
Because of the bye.
Oh, okay.
Because of the bye, because of that Week 17. The one thing, if you're a Rams fan, that you don't want to have happen, you don't want to go into that Week 18 game with San Francisco having to play everybody. Sean McVay's made it very clear. He's resting guys all the way in. You tell me I can get a 2-week layoff for the Rams going into the playoffs, and they're still they're the Super Bowl favorite. More than your Buccaneers, more than the Packers, more than any of them. Because this is a team who's their all 22 depth chart is better than any team in the NFL. And I don't even think it's debatable.
Okay.
But they need that. They need to be the one.
The one thing you would do to make this team better, mine is on the offensive line, and it's a guy who's sitting out there that I can't believe hasn't been signed yet, and it's Austin Reeder. Austin Reeder was the star or one of the stars of the offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs last year. He didn't give up a single sack all year long. And I think he only gave up like 2 pressures, something crazy like that. That's the one hole for me on the LA Rams offensive line. They don't have superstars all over the offensive line, but they've got solid guys at every position except for center. So to me, Austin Reeder would be the one move that I could still make that would make me feel better about this team.
Mitchell Schwartz is the one that I would make, but that's just me.
Okay.
The thing about the Rams is they have a lot of interchangeable pieces on their line. Because there's not, would I love Rob Havenstein sliding into guard? Not really. But I would like having that swing tackle. And you talk about it. I don't mind Brian Allen. I don't mind Austin Corbett at all. I think they're talented players. They're just players people don't really know. So, if I was adding a piece, it would be to the offensive line, certainly.
Brian Allen was, he is the lowest graded of all of their offensive linemen.
He's also a young guy.
Okay. I'm just saying, at least at this point, even if you believe Brian Allen is the next center for this team, go get Austin Reeder, because the fact that nobody signed him, you can get him on a relatively good deal. And that would at least add depth to your team, which we've already talked about is a problem for them. So, either way, add to the offensive line. We're in tandem on that one. We are live in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. Check out our friends today and all 4 locations in the Asheville area. And you can even make your beer orders online now at wickedweedbrewing.com. Next up, the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers have the quarterback controversy. Jimmy Garoppolo.
It's not really
Trey
a controversy to me. It was.
I think
it
people
was
want
because
to
there was
make
so
it
much
into
talk
one.
about Garoppolo in New England.
Yeah.
Now, as time has gone on, and Kyle Shanahan said some weird shit about, hey, well, I don't even know if he'll be alive on Sunday. Okay, don't do that. Of all things you can say, don't say that shit, because that's insane. There's one thing with San Francisco that bothers me, but if you could satiate that fear for me, they're probably as likely a playoff team as there is in the league.
Okay.
And it's very much dependent on their best case, worst case scenario. Good health brings great wealth. You tell me San Francisco's healthy for 17 weeks. And by healthy, I mean you don't lose more than 2 starters all year long. In the long term.
Right.
They're going to contend aggressively for this division. The funny thing is that's what I feel like is going to hold back 2 of the 4 teams in this division if they get held back. And that's injuries. Because it could decimate both teams we've already talked about. Did San Francisco last year. They're not markedly more talented this year than they were last year. And they went, what were they last year? 6 and 10?
Yeah.
I know they were bad. Because of health. I feel like Jimmy G gets overlooked as being I'm not saying he's an elite quarterback. He's a pretty damn good quarterback.
He is a pretty damn good quarterback, and the fact that he's only played 1 full season really hurts his image. And that's why I think there's been so much scuttlebutt about Trey Lance. That and the fact that they traded up to number 3 to get him. How many times do you trade up into the top 5 to draft a quarterback and not play him? I feel like if they can resist the urge of pulling the trigger too early on Trey Lance, which I don't think it's going to be a real problem. The only way I think he sees the field is injury issues or getting snaps in a blowout game or something like that. That's the only way that I can see this front office making the decision and the coaching staff making the decision to go with Trey Lance, is if he's absolutely needed.
That's the only way he plays this year.
Yeah. If you have Jimmy G healthy, he can do great things for you. Problem is, he's
had a lot of health issues.
Well, he's had 1 season where he played 16 games.
Chuck G asked me what's the early take on Lance. He's being brought along very slowly. When you watch clips, and I'll be honest with you, one of the things that has become, and I hate that I have to say this out loud, but one of the tools that I've started using for how does a team really feel about a guy? Watch how they treat him on social media. And Trey Lance's has been a lot of teaching him how to play the position. That tells me this is a long-term project for you.
Right.
I didn't believe that at first because I couldn't believe you would trade up to take a long-term project. Well, apparently they did. I like Trey Lance a lot. I've said repeatedly, I think he's going to be what Cam Newton was sold to. He will be the bill of goods that Cam Newton was sold under for a long time. Because he does have a legitimate big boy arm. And he's as good of a runner as Cam Newton was, if not better.
We talked about this team and their off-season grades videos of how well they did in the off-season. Bringing everybody back, picking up Alex Mack from Atlanta. I feel like they did.
That's probably the most underrated signing of the year, by the way.
That and Trent. Trent Williams.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's like Trent, Gary Trent. Well, I mean, Trent Williams, he's one of the best left tackles in the league. I do believe he was overpaid, but because I don't think he's that clearly, he's clearly the highest paid. I don't know that he's clearly the best.
Right.
But it's very important to have your line intact. I think the line's very good. They're going to be able to run the ball really well. It all comes back to health. Everything with this team comes back to health. Because you can't tell me this team's healthy and they don't go at worst 11-6.
Yeah. Speaking of the running game for them, what do you think of Trey Sermon? How do you feel he's
I knew
Is
you
he
were gonna
being
ask me this.
overhyped?
Yes. For the love of God, yes. Good Lord have mercy. Just because he's a running back that's been given to Kyle Shanahan does not mean he's going to be Barry fucking Sanders. Mm-hmm. Calm your tits on Trey Sermon. I watched tape on Trey Sermon enough to go, nope. He's a bit player in the NFL. Stop taking him in the 6th round of fantasy drafts for the love of all that's good and holy. I've seen people take Trey Sermon ahead of Mike Davis, who's the only living, breathing running back in Atlanta. Stop it. No.
Yeah, there's a lot of hope that he is going to take over in that backfield, but Raheem Mostert is still healthy, right? Raheem Mostert's back. He's healthy. I get that he doesn't really stay healthy, but
I like Mostert a lot.
I do too. And when he's in the game, he is a difference maker. I mean, he averages over 5 yards a carry. He can be a home run hitter from the backfield. So to me, I think Trey Sermon is being overblown, but I also feel like there is some value there to Trey Sermon because I think he's going to get a lot of snaps. It's not San Francisco's not a one-horse town, and they haven't been. They just keep rotating in backs and riding hot hands, and I still think there's value there. But yeah, if you're having to take him in the 6th round of a fantasy draft, that's not value.
Yeah. Now, and obviously we talked about the health, so guess what? Worst case scenario, wish you were still here. If this goes the same way it did last year, they're in trouble.
Yes.
This division's too good. You can't. All right, I'll make a sweeping declaration. You tell me Trey Lance starts half this year, they finish last in the division.
I'd agree with that.
I'm hard on Seattle. They're still not bad. They're just the worst team in this division. And if you take any of these teams and start making injury things a thing, Seattle's better than you.
Yeah.
Seattle has the best quarterback in the division. It's not close.
The fact that so much has changed on this coaching staff as well, is that going to be a problem? Is it going to be a problem that Rob Salah is no longer in town?
That's the other side of wish you were still here.
I don't foresee that because I believe that DeMeco Ryans is going to be
DeMeco Ryans.
What did I say?
DeMeco.
Oh,
I don't know who that is. I think that's an old clothing brand. I think I had a pair of pants from Mecco at one point.
No, that's those really large, cheap Smartie candies. The DeMeco.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
DeMeco Ryan, excuse me. I believe that he's got the makings of a really good
He'll be a head coach
in the
this
NFL.
League. He will be a head coach in this league.
Okay.
If you're telling me you lost arguably the best defensive coordinator in the NFL, one of the smartest young offensive minds in the NFL, and you lost him in the same year, you can't tell me that's not going to hurt. Can't. How many times have we seen this? You can't tell me that's not going to be a problem. Now, can you smooth it out by the end of the year? Yeah, I think so, because I think DeMeco Ryans is a really smart guy, and I think he's a damn good coach. It's going to be a little lumpy to start off with. It's the way it always goes with rookie coordinators. Name me a rookie coordinator that came in and you just went, son of a bitch, 4 weeks in. There's not one. It's different. Everything's changed. You're the one making the calls. It's different when you're the guy that's actually calling the plays. You got 40 seconds to make a call, and you don't have anybody to defer to. That, to me, that's the scariest part, is Salah.
Yeah.
And the defense loved him. I think they loved DeMeco Ryans, too. But there's going to be a little bit of a morale hit without Salah there. That's one thing I've noticed with him with the Jets, is that everybody he comes in contact with loves him. So I think that will be I don't think it's going to be a huge sweeping problem. I just think you're going to notice in close games, maybe there's a suspect call, maybe there's something that you go, I don't think Salah would have done that. Smooth those out by the end of the year, get into the playoffs, and not a problem.
Worst case scenario for this team. What's the worst they can be? I think it's 9-8.
If healthy, I would say 10-7. If they're healthy. If they're not healthy, it could be 6-11. But that, to me, that's a Jimmy injury. That's another Bosa injury. That's,
Right.
Maybe Warner.
That's a lot.
You would have to do a lot of things.
Kittle. something happens to Kittle, that's gonna really hamper the offense, which just kind of leads me into the one thing that I would do to make this team better is find a reliable wide receiver. The reliable wide receivers are hard to come by, I understand, but you have Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk as your top 2 wide receivers, and they're so young and in an injury-riddled season last year, we haven't seen them stay healthy. So I really would have loved to have seen them been in on, I don't know.
They just have so many weapons. Yeah, I like Richie James. I like Jalen Hurd if he can stay healthy. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about that. This is a predominantly running West Coast team, so I'm not worried about any of those things.
Okay. What are you worried about?
You should re-sign Richard Sherman. Vet guy, knows the system. Mm-hmm. You did lose pieces in the secondary. To me, it's you re-sign Richard Sherman. 1-year deal. I'm not saying you have to, break the bank or give him the bag or anything like that. But I think it would be helpful to have him on this team. Mm-hmm. And I think he wants to be with this team. That's why I think he hasn't signed anywhere. It's because he wants to come back to San Francisco and he knows it's still a possibility. Mm-hmm. And until it's not, he's not going to go somewhere else.
Okay.
Alexander just said in the comments, this is an incredibly deep team. I agree. Mm-hmm. They're serviceable, deeper than probably any team in the league. The problem is last year was death by 1,000 paper cuts. And then you started cutting fingers off. Kittle, Garoppolo, Bosa. Mm-hmm. Can't do that again. Can't do that again. You'll be right in the same spot you were.
No. San Francisco 49ers best case scenario, are they on your short list to win a Super Bowl?
I have 5 teams that I think can win a Super Bowl. If you told me it was 8, San Francisco would be 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're definitely on my short list as well. I don't feel like what happened last year with the injuries is repeatable.
It almost can't be that bad again.
Right, exactly. I mean, we've seen teams do this over time, but
they lost 6 starters against my Jets last year. Mm-hmm. That's unfucking heard of.
Right. It can't happen again is where I'm going with this. Obviously, it's football. Everybody, injuries are going to happen. But I feel like the stroke of bad luck, it just can't get any worse than that. And this is a team that has all phases of the game covered. It's going to be a great season for San Francisco. To me, there's no doubt about that. Support for the Sportsocracy is brought to you by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com today and save money. 20% off of your purchase and free worldwide shipping using our promo code Sportsocracy. They are the champions of men's below-the-waist grooming at manscaped.com, and they have precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. The 4.0, the Lawnmower 4.0 is the best tool that I have ever used to make sure that I am presentable when it comes time for my favorite activity. And, when you get to be my age and you've been married as long as I have been, you don't get those chances all that often. So you want to make sure that you're presentable, when it's time for fun times, for adult fun times. And they help you make sure that you're going to be well prepared for that situation with the Lawnmower 4.0 that even includes a nice little flashlight, the LED light on the end of it that can help you get into those nooks and crannies. Some of us has more nooks than others.
Making it real hard for me not to make jokes.
I'm setting you up for the jokes. That's the whole.
Sorry, I got a text, and it's something we'll talk about it this afternoon on ESPN.
Okay.
It's the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever read in my life.
Use our promo code Sportsocracy at manscaped.com today. Again, save yourself 20% off and get free worldwide shipping. Promo code Sportsocracy at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. I forgot who was next.
Arizona Cardinals.
The Arizona Cardinals.
I'm telling you right now, you're 6 weeks away from having to write your fucking address on your dashboard. That's the third time in 2 days he's just looked at me like, I don't know what to do now.
Yeah, I can't ever remember.
You're the one that has to do this. That's how this shit works.
The Arizona Cardinals, Jeremy's best team in the NFC from 2020. Yeah, they went 8-8 again. And I tried to tell you that was going to happen. This year, though, things are a little bit different. The Cardinals went out and they restocked, and they brought some veterans onto this team to help the young guys develop a little bit more. I think they had a really good offseason.
They did.
Getting J.J. Watt, to me, I did not see that coming.
It's a huge vet presence in the locker room, so is A.J. Green.
I did not see that coming, and they killed it with that signing.
The best case scenario for the Arizona Cardinals: keep scoring, start stopping.
That's right. The defense needs to stand up, and because you're good, you can score with everybody in the league. But if your defense continues to give up more, more points, we saw it last year with this team. We saw it last year with the Dallas Cowboys. It's the old adage: defense wins championships. If you want to win this division, your defense is going to have to mature. And I think I think this is the year. I like the way Isaiah Simmons came along at the late stage of last year. He's going to be playing linebacker this year. They went out and, like I said, they added J.J. Watt to this team. The Chandler Jones thing, I don't foresee Chandler Jones going anywhere. There's been a lot of talk about whether or not they're going to trade him or what. I don't see that happening. They added Zaven Collins in the draft, who's going to be an immediate starter in the middle of that linebacking core.
Mm-hmm. I like Zaven Collins. That was a very hat on a hat to me. You already had Isaiah Simmons, and I like Zaven Collins. I'm not real sure how all this is going to play out. I'm not sure how you get all these guys on the field together at the same time. You got a lot of undersized linebackers.
Mm-hmm. But again, I think that goes to the speed factor.
Oh, it's 100% speed.
We want to have speed on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I have one problem with Arizona that scares the shit out of me.
Okay,
I'm afraid teams are going to run the ball down their throat. Especially in this division where you have Cam Akers, Chris Carson, Rashad Penny, who's going to be more of a fucking role than people think, and I don't know why I keep having to be the one to defend this. And then San Francisco that just trots out a running back that runs for 100 yards a game.
Right.
That scares me a little bit. Patrick Holt said in the comments the Cardinals are finishing last in this division. I will take that bet for anything you want to bet on it.
I would not be touching that bet for anything because I could very well see a path that happens. The Seattle Seahawks, I think you constantly sleep on them, the ability for them to continue to win games despite the fact that they have some holes on their roster. And obviously we will be covering the Seattle Seahawks in just a moment here in the best worst case scenario here in the Sportsocracy. But I feel like the Arizona Cardinals have a chance, but it all comes down to, Kyler Murray, and we've seen him be able to get the ball out to his receivers. They just added A.J. Green. I'm not sure what his role is. Who's going to be the odd man out in all of this? They just drafted Rondale Moore. They still have DeAndre Hopkins. They still have Christian Kirk. How does it all fit? Or does it even matter? Are they just going to throw so much that we don't even realize that somebody's getting left out of this mix with the wide receivers?
Okay, Andre, first of all, welcome, Andre. I said something that I phrased it poorly, so I need to explain what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Zaven Collins is not undersized as a linebacker. That's not the problem. Problem is they're planning on playing him as an edge in a four-man front, and I don't love that. Isaiah Simmons is undersized for a linebacker, which is what I was trying to say, and I got about 70% of the thought out and then didn't get that last 30% in there. Mm-hmm. Collins is, and I like Collins. That's part of why I'm so high on the Cardinals is I like all these pieces. I just don't know how you're going to fit them together. Mm-hmm. I don't see how you're going to, all right, let's go this way. I don't see how you're going to have Zaven Collins as an edge guy on the opposite side of Chandler Jones with Isaiah Simmons in the middle and not the greatest D-line outside of J.J. Watt, I just feel like teams are going to be able to pick on you running the ball. That's my fear. Probably should have said that in the worst case scenario, not in the best case, but
okay, well, the depth.
I said something wrong and had to correct it.
The depth chart that I'm looking at has Collins and Simmons in the middle.
Which makes zero sense to me. Of all the ways to use him, that's the way that makes the least sense to me. I liked him as a 4-3 Will. I liked him as a 4-3 Mike. I liked him as a 3-4 outside linebacker. I don't understand because they're already talking about moving Jordan Hicks. And I like Jordan Hicks. I don't understand that. I don't think that's the best use of his talents. After I watched tape on him, and I watched a lot because I like him a lot. I just don't get it.
What, you want to give him more range of motion coming from the outside?
I want him coming off the edge a lot. And I don't really want it to be with his hand in the dirt, which doesn't make any fucking sense to me. But I've heard that coming out of Arizona is that they plan on him playing all over the place. Okay. He's going to be a positionless player. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. It's the Obi Melifonwu rule. I had to say this to somebody on Twitter the other day. Obi Melifonwu is one of the most athletic guys I've ever seen in my life. The reason that he has played for 19 teams in, 8 years is because nobody ever plays him at one position. Let a guy, it's really hard to come into this league as a rookie. And maybe it's because I'm the draft guy that I'm so sensitive to this. Pick a spot and let them learn it. If 2 or 3 years down the line you want to start moving them around, that's all well and good. I don't like it. Zaven Collins was very multiple at Tulsa. That's playing a lot of the Houston Cougars, Memphis Tigers, and Central Florida Golden Knights. It's not the same level of competition. So now you're going to ask this guy to come in and be multiple again and be jack of all trades and master of none. It doesn't make any sense to me. Sorry, when I say something wrong and somebody calls me on it, I have to explain. But I do appreciate you calling me on it because if we put these out individually, and trust me, teams don't let that shit go. Fans of teams do not let it go when you say some dumb shit.
No. This is a team that I feel like they are going to be able to get after the quarterback. I'm not scared about their secondary. I get that nothing really pops off the screen at you other than Buda Baker.
Am I the only one that likes the secondary? And maybe I'm out to lunch on this.
I mean, it's fine.
Malcolm Butler's a legitimate one. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
He's a legitimate one. He's one of the 32 best corners in the NFL.
Yeah, I'd say fact. I mean, it didn't go well in Tennessee last year.
Robert Alford is one of the 64 best corners in the NFL. Okay. I like Byron Murphy a lot. Loved him coming out of Washington. He's your nickel back. Then you got Tay Gowan on the backside. That's your 4. That's a lot of talent in your secondary. I hear a lot of people bash the secondary, and I don't get it at all. If there's anything I'm going to bash, it's going to be the front 7 because I don't know how they all fit together. But if you do figure it out,
ooh, buddy, watch out.
Ooh, buddy, there's a lot of talent up there. I just don't know where it fits.
Right. Now, the worst case, okay, so best case scenario for Arizona, they could win 12 games?
At least. Might be more than that. We're talking best case scenario?
Best case scenario.
I would say at best they split with the Rams and the 49ers. Outside of the division, I don't love that they have to go to Tennessee. I don't love that they have to go to Cleveland.
Green Bay's on that schedule.
Yeah, but it's
Indianapolis is on that schedule.
I don't care. They're better than Indianapolis. Yeah, I would say best case scenario, it's 12-5.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, 12-5.
Right. Worst case scenario is another 8-8 season. I don't really project that that's going to happen, but
well, it can't be 8-8.
Well, you know what I mean. In that realm of
8, 9, 9-8. Yeah.
Right.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think that happens to the next team we talk about.
But worst case scenario, they get stuck on the cliff. Kliff Kingsbury and his air raid offense, it puts up a lot of points, sure. But is it sustainable? And is it something that teams are going to start figuring out?
Here's my problem with Arizona, and this kind of plays into the problems I had with the defense. I don't think Kliff Kingsbury is a very good coach, and I haven't for quite some time. I think he's a very good offensive coordinator. I think he can be a good college coach. I don't think he's an NFL coach. I don't. He does the CEO thing fine. It's the in-game decisions. And look, there was probably nobody higher in media in the world on the Cardinals than I was last year. Mm-hmm. I routinely said I thought they were the most talented team in the NFC. I thought they were the best team in the NFC. Mm-hmm. That was my spicy hot take going into last year. Kliff Kingsbury cost them a lot of games that were winnable with just piss-poor decisions. I'm afraid that could happen again. If you told me this team doesn't make the playoffs, outside of Kliff Kingsbury, name me something that could stop them. Look at the talent.
Right.
How are you going to stop them? Christian Kirk's your 4 at best. Mm-hmm. Andy Isabella's your 5. How do you stop that? You get stopped at the top. Your own coach stops you, and that's what I'm afraid of with Arizona.
Right. Or the running game. I could see the running game being a downfall. If Chase Edmonds doesn't become the reliable guy that I think he can turn into, that I think he's going to turn into, I could very well see it. You got James Conner backing him up, and his time in his last days in Pittsburgh didn't go very well.
He's not good. He's not a good football player. Stop worrying about James Conner.
Right. So
Chase Edmonds is the guy.
Right. So if this running game doesn't work, then I could very well see where that will hamper them. But you also have to account for Kyler.
There you go. There it is. Mm-hmm. People keep talking about, the run game might not work with Chase Edmonds and James Conner. Okay, tell me how that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Because they're going to stretch you out 4 and 5 wide a lot. Mm-hmm. So they're going to thin your defense out, and they're just going to run right up the freaking middle at you. Chase Edmonds is a good running back. Why Kliff doesn't want to give him full workload, I don't know.
I'll agree with you.
James Conner can be the spell to him as the between the tackles guy. Mm-hmm. But I like Chase Edmonds. I think they're going to be able to run. I think they're going to be able to throw. I think the offense is going to be phenomenal. It all comes back to the in-game decisions with a coach that I just don't believe that much in. I hope he proves me wrong, but he burned me last year, and I'm not going to fall for it again this year.
Yeah.
You have all the talent in the world. There is nothing to stop you from being a playoff team. I don't think you can win a Super Bowl, but I think you're one of the best teams in the NFC. And if your record does not reflect that, I think it has to come back on Kliff Kingsbury.
I would agree, but I think it's going to be hard that if you go from a mediocre outcome last year to 8-8, and you go, say they go 11-6.
11-6 is in the playoffs. So that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay,
I'm talking
say
about
they go 10-7 and just barely miss the playoffs. You think Kliff Kingsbury's gone?
Yep, I do.
I don't know. I mean, that's a
Yep, I do.
It's a 2-win increase year over year.
Whoop-de fucking do.
And I mean, you can say whoop-de fucking do.
You
but,
finished dead last in the division. You have the easiest schedule in this division by a mile. You cannot miss the playoffs because you're all in. Mm-hmm. You got A.J. Greene that's 407 years old. You got J.J. Watt that's 497 years old. Right. You did this. This wasn't to be, we're better. We're better than we were last year. If you can't do it against this schedule with this team, you're not the guy, period. Mm-hmm. And it's enough pissing in the wind by Kliff. They don't make the playoffs, he's fired, period.
Okay. I expect them to be in the hunt for the playoffs, whether or not they'll make it. I mean, I won't be shocked one way or the other. I do expect them to be better than they were last year, but whether that translates into a playoff appearance, I think there are several good teams at the top of the NFC. It's going to be really hard to get into the playoffs this year, I have a feeling. What's the one move that you would make to make this team better? You already mentioned you were worried about teams running the ball down their throats. So, interior on the defensive line?
The bad thing is that the addition I would like to make to this team, there's not a guy out there that fits.
Okay. What is that?
Like a Stevie McClendon would be the ideal for me. Mm-hmm. I would love to have a guy that's just a big-ass run stopper in the middle. Mm-hmm. That's a talented run stopper. Before you give me Leaky Fotu, I know how big he is. I don't give a fuck.
Leaky Fotu.
Yeah, I don't care. I like Watt. I think Watt's going to help, but 3-4, you got to have 3 formidable guys on that D-line, and I'm not sold that they do.
I was going to mention Geno Atkins. Geno Atkins is a guy that you can get relatively cheap. He is a seasoned veteran in this league. And I think that would make them very, very scary.
I would like that move a lot.
Yeah.
I would. To me, that would be a formidable move that would probably alleviate some of my fears.
That's my one move that they can make. Arizona, I believe that they are, while they're not best team in the NFC good, they're very close.
They're very good.
They're very close to being in that short list of teams atop the NFC for me. We're live in the Wicked Weed studio. Check out our friends at wickedweedbrewing.com. Wicked Weed Brewing, drink different. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene and the Seattle Seahawks. What is our prognostication for 2021 for Russell Wilson and company? We realized that it was a tumultuous offseason. The questions about whether or not Russell Wilson was going to stick around or going to get traded or, he wants more help. Did they get him enough help? It seemed like all of that smoothed over at some point. Apparently Gabe Jackson was the was the one thing that did it for him. He's like, we got Gabe Jackson, that's fine. It'll be all right. Forget all those other things.
Yeah, here's the thing. I felt the same way about Russell Wilson in mid-March that I feel about Aaron Rodgers now. It was never going to happen. It was much ado about nothing. Russ is fine. Russ likes Seattle. Russ is as team guy as they get. Best case scenario for the Seattle Seahawks, come for the food, stay for the mood.
That's right. Russ is going to cook. He's got DK Metcalf. He's got Tyler Lockett still. He is going to sling the ball a lot, and they are still going to run the ball with Chris Carson. You said Rashad Penny a second ago, and that kind of blew my mind because I thought he had fallen into decrepitude.
No, he's lived hurt forever.
Right. So just because the tires are wearing thin on Chris Carson, they're going to get Rashad Penny more involved? Or are you hearing that he's healthier, in the best shape of his life? All that camp talk that we hear.
It's all the latter.
Yeah.
He's going to have a role. He's going to have a role, period. If he makes his team, he's going to have a role. If he doesn't make the team, it's because he's not healthy. But here's what... Russell Wilson's so damn good that he leads a team that's just overall not that fucking talented. Seahawks fans don't want to hear that. It's the truth. And if you want me to prove it, tell me what position group they're elite at.
Quarterback.
Outside of the one that I just said.
They're not.
I thought you were going to say wide receiver.
Well.
They have two.
Yeah.
They have two, period. Dwayne Eskridge is real fast. He's also real old for a rookie. Dwayne Eskridge I can't remember who it was that he was older than. It's been in the league for like 40 years.
He's 24 years old.
Yeah. He's pretty old, 24, if I remember correctly. I think he'll be 25 not long after the season ends.
Doesn't that make him older than Sam Darnold?
Yes, he is. He was older than a receiver that's been in the league for quite some time. But yes, he is older than Sam Darnold.
He turned 24 in March, so he'll be 25 next offseason.
Yeah, right after the season ends. That's what I thought. What I was saying is I didn't think he turned turned 24 like yesterday.
Right. No, I would say that they have elite players, but as a whole position group, I don't know that you can say that they're elite. I mean, obviously having two of the best wide receivers in the league it puts you right up there. I mean, if we're talking dynamic duos of the NFL, yeah, they're right up at the top of the list with everybody else.
I mean, I love DK Metcalf. I love Tyler Lockett. You're not deep at receiver.
And can Russell Wilson make Gerald Everett what we wished he was when he was in L.A.?
I like the Gerald Everett signing. At the end of the day, still not a good blocker. You have a tight end that's not a good blocker, and you have three below average starting offensive linemen. What does that tell you? In a division where you have to contend with Nick Bosa, J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones, and Aaron Donald. Good fucking luck with that. And before you tell me how good those three are, just understand one of them played for my team for an extended period of time. Brandon Shell could fuck up a blowjob. Period. He'd talk through it and she'd stop. He's awful. I loved his dad, and he's a nice enough kid. He is a terrible fucking football player.
Well, lineman ratings wise, he had a berth last year. And it was the first year. It was the first year that he had a PFF grade of over 55.
Yeah,
so
he's bad. You know why I know that? Because all those 55s were with us.
Right. And he went to Seattle last year and turned out a 72 or something.
Which is still not great, by the way.
No, it's not great, but it's serviceable. Mm-hmm. I think the one thing that they need to do is a center.
I think
Ethan Posick is not good.
Michael Whiteside just said Russ will be running for his life. That's my fear. Mm-hmm. That's my fear in what leads to the worst case scenario for the Seattle Seahawks.
Right.
Kitchen closed, understaffed.
You don't have the staff to be able to protect your quarterback. And about this situation than Russ. Now, I still feel like Russ is going to be running for his life. He's the second most hit quarterback in the NFL since Deshaun Watson came into the league. Deshaun Watson's the number one, by the way. It's just not good. You have to protect your quarterback. But we have seen, like last year, we didn't believe in the offensive line last year, and there's still a team that Russ in this division than it is that they're the first team in this division, and it's not even really close.
I don't like the defense. There's just a lot of things about this team. There's a lot of things about this team I don't like. Mm-hmm. I don't think you're going to be able to get after the quarterback particularly well. I don't like the offensive line. I think you're going to struggle to run at times. The one thing you got three fast-ass receivers that I think will take the top off things, which will allow Chris Carson to be good. Mm-hmm. That will be your saving grace. At the end of the day, you're still the worst team in this division.
Worst case scenario, what's their record?
8-9. I mean, I'm not saying they're the worst team in the fucking league. Mm-hmm. That's what people make it out to be like. I'm saying you're going to be the dog in 6 games in your division.
Yeah.
Sharp money will be bet against you in 6 games in your division.
I think you're right on the line there. Somewhere between 7 and 9. If things just go horribly, they could end up there. Also, though, I'd still believe that their best case scenario, they could very well end up with 11 wins and be in the playoffs. I think there's a path for every team in this division to make the playoffs, which that's why it's the best division in football. Hands down, bar none. Let Russ cook. You got to protect him. You can't let the kitchen catch on fire.
Here would be any Seahawk fan that wants to argue with me about where they're going to be and how this is going to go. Mm-hmm. Let's play a fun game. Let's say, just for shits and giggles, that Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback of this team. Guy we talked about that we like. Mm-hmm. We like him. Mm-hmm. What's their record with Jimmy Garoppolo as their quarterback? If they go 5-12, I'd be stunned. That's how fucking good Russell Wilson is. Because he takes this team that's not overly talented, and it's not deep at all. And it makes you, plus Pete Carroll's a good coach. I do undersell Pete Carroll quite often. I like Pete Carroll a lot. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, this is the least talented team in the division. It's not all that close. The defense is average.
Which is going to be, it's going to hamper them when they come up against every team this year. And they face some pretty decent pass rushes all throughout the season.
That's another thing.
They got the Washington football team on this. They got the Green Bay Packers who can get after the quarterback with the Smiths. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The 6 games in your division.
Mm-hmm. All those teams in the division as well. Chicago's got a good pass rush. They could get after him as well and create problems.
The schedule did them no favor either.
Yeah, offensive line. And if he's getting killed, eventually you're going to lose that battle. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing I fear with the Seattle Seahawks.
All right, I'll go one step further. Let's say something, God forbid something happens to Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. And they have to start Geno Smith. What's this team's record?
Oh, God. That could be
Just
4.
Take the journey with me.
It could be like 4 wins.
Who do they beat? I mean, I'm looking at the schedule right now. Mm-hmm. Let's say that, and I don't forecast injuries or anything like that, so I'm not trying to do that. Look at their schedule. Outside of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans and the Detroit Lions, that's 3 wins. You tell me who else on that schedule they beat without Russell Wilson. It's no fucking body.
No fucking body.
I've tried my best to figure out who in the hell would you beat. Yeah. Because every team's going to outscore you. Because they're going to pick on your defense, which is not overly good, and you're not going to be able to score with them.
Right.
That's why I feel about the Seahawks the way that I do. Mm-hmm. And eventually, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass.
I agree. The NFC West, best worst case scenarios. We will continue our coverage tomorrow as we will have the AFC. What's tomorrow? The AFC East? No, we did the East.
AFC North.
AFC North. AFC North tomorrow. This one should be fun. We'll get the Cincinnati Bengals fans all pissed off again. The Cleveland Browns fans will come to burn your house down.
Maybe I'll get on Reddit again and people will forget how to spell the word fuck.
Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens. That is going to be a tight division as well. So we do best worst case scenario for the AFC North coming up here in the Sportsocracy tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in with us this afternoon on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400 locally. Of course, you can hear us everywhere, live or on demand, on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. We will see you next time.